What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham, Jason Matthews, break down all the original content you watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking the January 18, 2021 edition of Raw Talk. Charlie Caruso was back this week after missing last week's episode. She is back alongside R-Truth. She said the reason for her absence was that she was celebrating Thanksgiving with her mother. Now, Thanksgiving was 2 months ago, so be that as it may, she was back on this show, for better or for worse. I like Sarah Schreiber. She wasn't a natural in the hosting role, but I just could not give two shits about Charlie Caruso as the host of Raw Talk. Truth, I say this every single week, but the guy he's enjoyable, he's funny, but I feel like they rely a little too much on that stuff. So they recapped the ending to Raw that saw Alexa Bliss beat Asuka, the Raw Women's Champion, in non-title action, and all of her crazy antics throughout the show and how, Asuka was in her playground earlier in the evening and then she got possessed seemingly. And they were wondering, whose voice? Obviously they knew it was the Fiend's voice when she said, "Let me in," or she mouthed it rather. And then we hear the Fiend say, "Let me in." And they're all conflicted and confused as to what that could possibly mean. And Truth was like, how could that be the Fiend when he was burned alive a few weeks ago at TLC? He said, and I quote, "A burnt man can't be talking." That's what he said. So they just kind of go back and forth with that shit. Then they welcome on The Miz and John Morrison. The very first thing that Morrison gets asked by Truth is, how was it like being in the Doors? Obviously, Jim Morrison, that's where John Morrison got the name from. Stupid stuff aside, Miz brings up how he says that he wants McIntyre and Goldberg to know that he can cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase at any time. Why he even want that? Let's say that he does cash in, which he won't. Why the fuck would Miz want them to know that he could cash in at any time? That means that they'll be more prepared. Wouldn't he not want them to know? Maybe this is all mind games, and obviously I don't think he's going to cash in anyway, but he wants to make it seem like that he could cash into the Rumble, but instead he's going to cash in on Raw the next night, or at WrestleMania, or whatever. The fact that if he actually is planning on cashing it in at the Royal Rumble, to hammer it home, I'm going to cash in, I will cash in, I could cash in, it takes away from that element of surprise. So then McIntyre and Goldberg, if they're not prepared for Miz, then they're just idiots after he's been saying it for weeks. So that was the whole purpose of the segment earlier on in the show with the dude that was supposed to be Drew McIntyre and then Goldberg, which I thought was funny. The segment was stupid, but I like Goldberg's part in it anyway. So he also thought that it was the best segment ever, obviously, coming from Miz. Are you really surprised? And Morrison said, they really wanted to get the real things, and Goldberg and Drew, but they were working on a budget, so they really couldn't go all out then with what they had, which is why they had to hire a Drew McIntyre cosplay from New Jersey, Morrison said. They actually bring up, and I completely forgot about this, John Morrison that he and Truth used to tag. I totally forgot about that. He and Miz used to tag, which they also acknowledge, and I remember the Awesome Truth days. That was only 10 years ago. I say only, it was a decade ago, which is crazy. And neither guy has aged since then, which is even wilder. I completely forgot, though, even though it was only a year prior, that Truth and Morrison did team for a time in 2011. Or no, rather 2010. They went for the tag titles at WrestleMania, against Miz, actually, in Big Show, at WrestleMania 26. They teamed for a little bit, I think, when they came to Raw in 2010. They had their alliance and their friendship when they both came to Raw in 2011, or they were both on Raw still, rather, and then they feuded. So, yeah, they have a history that I completely forgot about. But they asked Truth, who would you want to be your tag team partner between the two? Truth obviously doesn't choose. He actually says, is Goldberg available? Which I thought was funny. And then he says, I would choose both of you to be my tag team partner. A very diplomatic answer from Truth here. So Miz blames Morrison for him losing the briefcase. The first time back at TLC when he said that Morrison cashed in the contract for him, and then he cashed it in even though he didn't. It was a whole fucking mess. He should not have the briefcase still. Miz, I love the guy. He's a fucking loser at this point. The fact that he's still Mr. Money in the Bank is a joke. It's a joke. But he does say that the briefcase does provide people with the ultimate opportunity, especially for those that don't get many opportunities, such as himself. And he's going to capitalize on that and become WWE champion. Sure. So the next person they have on is Shayna Baszler. And the whole back and forth between Truth and Baszler continues with Truth asking Shayna if she's better at Uno or Go Fish. And she just completely ignores it, and then she goes on, saying that she showed on Raw this week that she can handle business on her own. and she called her alliance with Nia Jax one of convenience. They got the job done. They were tag team champions. They were dominant tag team champions. She can't say the same thing for Asuka and Charlotte Flair. She and Nia have never gotten along, even when they were champions, before they became champions. But with Asuka and Charlotte, they're not on the same page. They've completely lost focus. At least Nia and Shayna know what they want in a tag team title opportunity. They teased that rematch happening at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, which at this point, if they're openly acknowledging it, then I'm sure it's going to happen. Why, when Charlotte is busy with Evans and Royce and Asuka is busy with Alexa Bliss, I have no idea. Everyone is off doing their own fucking thing. But Baszler does bring up the Royal Rumble match. She knows how one works. She was in it last year. She got a number of eliminations. She was in there until the very end with Charlotte, actually. She knows how the Rumble match works, and she's going to go on and win it all this year. And how currently with Asuka and Charlotte, the Rumble and the tag titles, they're two completely isolated issues. She's going to go on and win the Rumble, and the tag titles, regaining those with Nia, are completely unrelated to that. And then Charlie's like, I have a lot of hypothetical questions, but we're running out of time. Who gives a fuck? The last people they welcome on are AJ Styles and Otis. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He does pronounce his name here. We hear a little bit more from him here than we have at any other point up to this point. He does properly pronounce his name. I don't know if it's Otis. I always thought it was like Otis, like almost, but then Truth brought that up. He said, we're almost out of time or something. And then Otis was like, don't play with me. So I'm not sure. But Otis calls being with AJ phenomenal, and Truth tries to drive a wedge between them by saying, how is it like having AJ as your assistant? And you can immediately tell what he was going for there, and AJ is having none of it. But he says that his mindset right now, AJ's is on winning the Royal Rumble match. He's been dominant. He's won 12 of his last 14 televised matches in WWE. The only two being a 6-man tag team match that he wasn't pinned in on Raw after TLC, and then a TLC itself when he lost the TLC match to McIntyre in the triple threat with Miz, and he wasn't pinned there either. So AJ, I don't think has been pinned in WWE since he lost to Jey Uso either in late September or early October. That's really, really impressive. Ever since coming to Raw, I don't think he's been pinned, which is cool. But yeah, and how cool would it be, he brings up, to win the Royal Rumble, exactly 5 years removed from debuting in the Royal Rumble match, in 2016. And he plugs his Untold, and Oma says it's the best 35 minutes he'll ever spend watching anything, which I thought was funny. And then Charlie asks this dumb question, what number would you want to be in the Rumble? Obviously, it's 30. What a stupid question. So he says he wants to be 30, and then they ask if Omos is going to be in the Rumble, and they say, we'll see, and that's about it. So a very ho-hum edition of Raw Talk. Nothing new here. Same shit as every week. The AJ Omos stuff I thought was the best part about it. Miz and Morrison, I like. They have a go-away heat with a lot of people right now, and the shtick just isn't working. So their segment was solid. Shayna I like too, but just the whole shit with Nia and the tag titles I could give two fucks about. They're focused on the tag titles. Charlotte is focused on Lacey, and Asuka is focused on Alexa Bliss. What the fuck is going on here? So, just nothing you really need to see from this episode of Raw Talk, but it was fine for what it was for January 18th, 2021. Thank you guys, as always, for checking out these reviews. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Be sure to check out all my other Raw Talk reviews in the description box down below, and hit the bell button to be notified every time a new video is uploaded, including on Thursday, when we drop my latest exclusive interview with a top-tier star right now in WWE. Not going to say who it is, but it is coming up on Thursday morning, I want to say. So keep an eye/an ear out for that. You're not going to want to miss this exclusive interview. And already we've done interviews in 2021 with Apollo Crews, Fandango, AJ Styles, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So if you're not already subscribed here to the channel, what the fuck are you waiting for? Subscribe right now and never miss a video. Have a great one, guys. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.